Welcome back. This is Wake Up Sierra Leone on AYV Television. We're on channel 33, on DSTV on channel 399. We're on Radio FM 101.7, streaming live online at www.ayvnews.com, and also on Facebook, AYV News. So drop your comments, thoughts, questions. We'll definitely find time to read them out. In our first segment of the show this morning, as the political landscape of Sierra Leone is already going on with politics, announcement of alliances, the Sierra Leone People's Party and the National Grand Coalition yesterday officially launched and signed a progressive alliance at the Bintumani Conference Hall in Freetown. The launch of the alliance, supporters of the NGC and SLPP say is a step towards a more united Sierra Leone where political differences are put aside for the greater good of the country. The SLPP-NGC Progressive Alliance is expected to address key issues such as improving the economy, creating jobs and delivering better services to the people. But first, we have been joined this morning by Honorable Dr. Kandeh Yumkella, who is still the leader of the National Grand Coalition Party in Parliament. Good morning, Honorable, and welcome to the show this morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me on your show.
Have you recovered from the activity of yesterday?
Not fully. I'm still pumped up. The adrenaline is still flowing.
Okay.
And but I feel excited.
Okay.
Yes.
Welcome. We'll be talking to you on that. But quickly, before we start the conversation proper, let's take some highlights of the event yesterday at the Bintumani Conference Center.
This is a good alliance. This is a noble alliance. It is a homecoming for some of us. When I look at everybody, I spoke to the elders of the NGC the last time. Nobody there was a stranger to me. Old friends, people we have politically fought with, which is okay. And today we are back together. Maybe one day we refuse and be one people, one country. There is something bigger than the two of us, and all of us seated here. That is Sierra Leone. I've always said to him, Kandeh, I know you have big ideas, but I don't want you to die with those ideas. You need a platform. And for me, I said to him, you are a great member of parliament, but you can be a better person in this country because we don't want to confine your expertise, network, and know-how to say to him severally, I said, Kandeh, stop this talking. Let's come and do it. Bring your ideas. Let's debate them as long as possible. We arrive at a decision. So I recognize you, I know how hard you've worked, and I know you have a lot of good people, and I encourage none of them on the way they come back, maybe except with a few, now they're not strangers to win SLPP. Very few, I think.
To fulfill such a quotation, to create that environment where we can all achieve our full potential. Today marks a historic day in Sierra Leone as the ruling Sierra Leone People's Party and the National Grand Coalition come together to form the Progressive Alliance. This decision demonstrates our unwavering dedication to placing the interests of our nation first and collaborating to create a brighter and more prosperous future for all our people. The formation of the Progressive Alliance was not made lightly, but rather is the result of deliberations and a shared vision for our nation's future. 10 years ago, I didn't dream about a grand alliance of progressives. But God can say, the President.
Well, welcome back. That was some highlights of yesterday's signing ceremony and statements at the Bintumani Conference Center. Once more, we have Honorable Dr. Kandeh Yumkella with us in the studios.
Yes, and hopefully we'll have Mohamed Ramansware of the Sierra Leone People's Party to further the conversation. Good morning, Honorable. It's a pleasure having you
Thank you for having me.
As you made mention earlier, the adrenaline is still pumping, so we want to share all of that with the viewers. But first of all, congratulations on the alliance. And I want to specifically turn to the fact that this has been something that, was planned. It has been a process. So what attracted you to the Sierra Leone People's Party? Whether it's an alliance or you'll be giving your thoughts, your comments, and whatever the case may be.
But thank you very much for having me, and we want to thank your viewers for this opportunity to talk to them. We've always believed as NGC in a coalition of progressives. We've always tried to put together a mechanism that will attract diverse opinions so that we can form a vanguard for change and for development in this country. And over the last 2.5 years, we've been talking to different political parties about getting together. I think it was on your show here where I made the comment that we have to put our egos aside. This is over 2 years ago, and begin to look at Sierra Leone, given the tensions we see, given the difficulties we see, and see how we can come together as a people, forgiving each other for past errors, forgiving each other for issues that may have arisen in the past, but focus on how we change Sierra Leone. The SLPP, as you know, I've been in Parliament now 5 years. You've had us in a number of cases, debate very hard on public policy in the Parliament, outside of Parliament. Even while in Parliament, we've been doing articles looking at various critical issues in the country. We've also looked at government programs. Some of the progressive agendas they've put forward, we've backed. Human capital development, end of the death penalty, the women empowerment. Remember, I had an omnibus bill which never saw the light of day, pushing for 30% for women. We've looked at what they're doing in the health sector, the social capital investment area, education and health. And there's several additional things we want to do as a party. And in the conversations with Mr. President, I realized, and my colleagues, the elders who have been meeting with him as well, we realized that some of those are also areas where he wants to work on in his second term. But wait for the joint manifesto, you'll see that. So we felt that we had found a partner that called us to say, I want to talk to you. I've listened to your criticism. I've listened to your debates. I've seen how you've operated. We see you going to the markets, listening to the people, listening to their hardships. You've gone to the fishmongers, you've gone to other locations. I want to talk to you about that and how we can create a future where everybody can achieve their full potential. So we found a good partner that is willing to look at the bigger picture for us, which is Salon Force, and also that realizes that we have to close the division we see emerging in this country. Deep division, political division, that is almost coming down to an ethnic or ethno-regional division. We don't want that. That worries us even more than anything. And therefore, we needed to show practically that, in fact, yes, before elections, not after elections, before elections, we can come together to curve and design this new Sierra Leone that we want to see.
It's good you brought up the fact that you are a critic, and in one of your statements, this was in 2022, it says here that, so my critic is not a criticism, it is a call to action to consolidate because the worst is yet to come. It is a call to extraordinary measures to deal with extraordinary circumstances. They are saying when the going gets tough, the tough gets going. So at this point when, it's tough already, specifically to the economy, what do you bring to the table? What makes the difference with your comment?
It is good you quoted that, because here locally, we seem to assume that we can do quick fixes to our problems. And I made that comment after chairing a number of international sessions where we were looking ahead at the next 2 years, the next 5 years, about what was coming down the pike, particularly since February. And I continue to engage in some of those international debates. What it means for the global economy, what it means for sub-Saharan Africa in particular. That's why I made that statement, that this is not a simple, quick fix, because some of what we experience here are serious global shocks. As a small economy, we have to absorb those shocks. We have to change how we manage the economy. We have to change how, in fact, we address politics in general. This is why some of us had to take the tougher decision now to say, look, forget about your own personal ambitions. In these discussions you're having with government, hunker down and say, let's look at bigger structural changes, yeah? So what we bring to the table, and that's what the president has said, we bring more ideas to the table. We're a diverse group. Our party is made up of a diverse group of a lot of expertise in our group, whether it's the economy, mining, engineering, you name it. We have a very good, credible, critical mass of professionals who are with us. And we've been having these conversations. We bring that. And he's told me, say, Kandeh, that's in fact part of what I look at. Number two, we've had a message and an approach that appeals to more of the independence of this country. We demonstrated over the last 10 years. Remember, we started KKY movement in 2013. So this is not a quick thing. We started since 2013. This is 10 years now. We have seen that our messaging, our vision for the country of an inclusive society, a society and a governance structure that is more compassionate, a listening party, we bring that to the table to say to our friends in the bigger party of SLPP, whatever we do has to be pro-poor. We have expertise we can bring to the table, not only about the election, it's about the governance after the election, how we can fix the economy. Look, there's some things we've already discussed. We have to tighten our belts. Every regime spends a lot more money than we have. This government has done very well in raising revenues, in rationalizing some aspects of economic management. I was in Parliament when we passed the single treasury account. I was in Parliament when we passed the Extractive Industries Act as well, several other economic policies. We need to integrate those and execute them better. Good policies, but the execution also sometimes is faulty. So they've done well. We have to go now beyond raising revenues to really deploying them to where they matter. We have to focus on exports.
Okay. Yeah? Let's look at the NGC itself as a political party. Is this, you know, the end for the NGC as a political party with a merger or an alliance with the Sierra Leone People's Party, or you still have that ambition of continuing to lead the NGC?
If you look at the agreement, the very beginning, the two parties maintain their identity. We care about that. That NGC exists as an entity. NGC will be filing candidates for parliament, for councillors and so on. So we are still a registered party here. We're going to have candidates participating in this election.
So NGC will be contesting against the SLPP
in some areas,
for local council and parliament.
Yes, sir.
But you, as Dr. Kandeh Yumkella, will not contesting for the presidency.
I'm not contesting for the presidency. That is also very clear. We, the alliance, we've agreed to have one ticket. The ticket is President Julius Maada Bio and Vice President Julia Jallo. That's very clear.
Does this bring the end to your ambition of wanting? I've been listening to your videos. I watched some of them. You know, when you left the UN, saying you're coming to wanting to be the president and helping changing this country. Does that end your ambition of wanting to be president of Sierra Leone?
Let's put it this way. I decided to prioritize peace, stronger governance, unification of this country than my ambition to be president. And I think that's important. That myself as a person, my party, my elders, we decided to suppress that ambition to achieve a bigger outcome. And so that's what we've done.
What is not clear? Is it because you're not sure of winning the elections that you say, okay, I should get into an alliance and support the SLPP instead of contesting and not winning again? Is that the...
You have to go back 2.5 years when I have been preaching about strategic alliance. 2.5 years ago, almost midway through this 5-year electoral cycle, I looked at the realities of this country. I looked at the divisions in this country. okay? And I chose to begin to preach about coming together with others, putting egos aside. I said that 2.5 years ago. So I've been very consistent. And I said, we gotta forgive each other. There was a time on your set here when there were two crises here. I think it was Tombo or Lonsar. I said, look, I see tensions here. I believe we in the bigger leadership must demonstrate that politics can be put aside and we reach out. Even on that show and also Morning Coffee, at that time, I said, I'm asking President Maada to call former President Anes Baikroma for the sake of this nation. And I kept repeating, all of us must put our egos aside. And so what you see demonstrated here, remember the sequence. President Bio said in Kicham, February, as he said yesterday, unprompted, Kandeh, I need you to join me to change this country. Okay? Openly he said it. At that time, he and I were not discussing anything about Sierra Leone. So it's not about ego, it's not about not wanting, not believing you can win and so on. It's about the nation.
But you got some 6% in the last election. Is it not about, you know, someone joining the NGC as well, forming an alliance with the NGC to lead, with Dr. Kandeh Yumkella becoming the president? Is that not foreseeable, which is why you're not contesting for the presidency?
It is more admirable that Yumkella says, I'm not going to fight all the way to be president anymore, but I'm going to focus on the country. That's what is more significant.
Not believing in you winning it?
It's not about not believing in me winning it. It is about me putting Salone first. That let me put my ambition aside and work better to define a new dispensation and demonstrate that, in fact, yes, because of the deep political tensions I see and the divide, that you know something, we can bring the North and the South together. That's more important to me than me just wanting to be president.
In an interview with New African magazine, it was in March 2018, and you were asked about the vision as well in the country. And one thing you said is that you confirmed, you agreed that the country is very divided. You said it has been divided since 2011, and this government that you meant, the past government, reinforced that division deeply, deliberately. The party I broke away from, the SLPP, to preach ethnic division within our party, which made me say, no, you are not serious about governance, you just want power. So I've broken away from them. If we are not careful, these two entities feeding on each other's hatred and ethnic agenda, they could push us back into civil conflicts in the country. Fast forward, a very recent Afrobarometer report says, in Sierra Leone, welcoming attitudes toward people of different religions, ethnicities, and political preferences have declined sharply, especially in the past 2 years. So the things you spoke about some time ago that made you form the NGC and wanting to change is still happening.
And in
What's
fact,
the difference?
So the issue here is exactly it's getting worse. So since 2018, I've been warning about these divisions, and I see them deepening. Okay, our solution as a party is to bring different other political persuasions together with the SLPP to bring that unification. Otherwise, these tensions will enhance, will increase, and in fact become exacerbated. That's what we want to prevent even more. So the tension... And that's why you see in all the speeches, we're talking about this unification. It has to be a deliberate architecture. Remember what President Kaba did after the war. In fact, President Kaba created a government of national unity in his first term, actually reaching out, bringing other entities in. You can go back and do your research as well. In this case, we're again trying to develop that same architecture, reaching out, bringing other people in, so that in fact we unify for the sake of Sierra Leone. Otherwise, those tensions I worry about will continue.
And they're still there. You still have,
and so we have to prevent it.
But you still have the main opposition party that has been accused by the ruling party of causing this tension, and you're forming an alliance with the ruling party.
To change that.
So how is
2 months
you'll
to go.
be campaigning for the president,
Yes.
for the leader of...
A president who has committed to me and to my party, that I recognize, I've listened, I have seen these tensions. Help me change them. Help me even change our way of governing. So in fact, we bring the country together. That's the point.
Does that change start with messaging on what should be the campaign message? On
part of that, you heard me yesterday and you heard him in his own speech. that yes, we're going to be preaching unity. We're going to be preaching coming together, but we're going to act on it. For me, it's not just the talking about it, it's the acting about it. Yeah? Managing it, making it work after the elections, but demonstrating now that yes, someone like me can join hands with them to say, we recognize that the division is deepening. And if that continues, yes, what I said in 2018 could happen. Exactly that.
Okay. We have been joined by Mohamed Rahman Sware. He's the Minister of Information, but also the lead for the communications team of the Sierra Leone People's Party campaign. I hope I get that correct.
Yes.
Okay. Good morning and welcome.
Thank you very much. Good morning.
Honorable, quickly, before I come to the minister, I want to ask, will you be running for parliamentary seats again? Will you be going to parliament?
We are discussing that right now. We've done all the necessary for me to run. I'm going back this week to my constituency to sit with them. Many of my cousins have come forward as well. So we're going to be discussing that at community level, but also at the party level. Stay tuned.
But the president said he wants to get you out of
exactly.
of parliament to
yeah.
come
to doing rather than legislating.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yes.
So,
but again, remember, I represent people. So let's watch the process. I'm going back to them to say you've also heard the president, what he has said. So let us talk. And a good delegation came from there yesterday. The section chiefs, a huge delegation came in from Kitchen to come and hear for themselves and see what is happening. So they're heading back. I'll be joining them now to sit with them and say, well, you've heard what we did in the alliance. Yeah. You've heard the president. You've heard me. What do you think?
What's your preference? What's your preference?
Wait and see. Sometimes the cliffhanger is good, right?
Okay.
All right.
Yes. Thank you again for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
Does this feel like a brother returning home with the coming of Kandeh Yumkella? What does this feel like for you? Let's start there.
As a person.
As a party and as a person?
No, first, as a person.
Okay.
And a member of the SLPP, this is an opportune moment to have witnessed history made, right? I mean, you clearly understand Dr. Yumkella's pedigree, and like His Excellency himself noted, many of the other salient stakeholders in the NGC were previously SLPP members. Yeah. This is a small country. We know each other intimately. Some of them we have had the privilege and opportunity of working with over the period. So this is a very exciting moment for us as a country, as a party, because, you know, the age-old challenges of ethno-regional divisions, of exclusion and marginalization is the big elephant in the room that is now being confronted. That is why many have said, in the words of both Dr. Yumkella and His Excellency President Bill, this progressive alliance is not just about the next elections, it is about the next generation. These have been the binding constraints in this country's development process. He noted there are suites of talents, very accomplished and experienced people in almost all parties, but all of them are in silos. We have never had an opportunity to bring all of them together so that we could unleash them, you know, for the benefit of Mama Sierra Leone. So this is the moment that is beckoning, and the moment is in fact right here.
President Bill made it clear yesterday that, you know, Honorable Yumkella has ideas, he's a man of ideas. So it's not just about politics, it goes beyond politics, it goes beyond votes, because certainly he carries some votes which he will be taking, hopefully, to the SLPP. But what I want you to answer here is his ideas, implementation of those ideas. Is this a firm commitment to some of these ideas to putting them in action? Well,
you know His Excellency the President, he's a very practical person. In his own words, I mean, he has been on some charm offensive. He was in Tea, he was in Kitchen. I saw him do the traditional rites to bring his brother back home. And after that, we are told there have been a lot of behind-the-scenes maneuverings, all in the bid to get him. And he made it clear, you have been a good legislator, a good debater. We now want you to climb down, come and do practical work. Back in school, when we did the sciences, I mean, he's specialized in the sciences. We used to do practicals, You go to general science class, chemistry, physics, and biology class, you do practicals after. So, I mean, like the late Desmond Luke used to say, the greatest problem of Sierra Leone is not laws. It's more often than not the tragic failure of men, selfish and greedy men. So His Excellency says, look, you have made a lot of very good legislations, now come and join this progressive team to implement them for the benefit of all Sierra Leoneans. So the rest is now Dr. Yumkella. Let us see them walk the talk. And I know the president, as a talk and do person, he means every word that he has said in public.
Okay. Now, you spoke of the Compassionate Inclusive Governance, CIG, and particularly for the 2018 elections. You know, back then we were in college, and a lot of youth had hopes in the NGC party, because, of course, as you used to name them, Alusaina Alas, and we were tired of it. A huge percentage of youth were tired of these two parties. So with your alliance now with the SLPP, what do you have to say to youths who had belief in you, not even the NGC party?
Yes, what I say to the youth is, watch me. I competed aggressively with President Bio 2013 to 2018. What I demonstrate to the youth is to challenge the narrative today that says politics is hate, politics is do or die. What I'm demonstrating to the youth is you can disagree with people, but you don't have to be disagreeable. You don't have to hate. You don't have to fight. Because what is going on in our society today is preaching hate, that by any means you must come to power. And if somebody else is there, you tear them down, you obstruct. The youth should pay attention to that. That Dr. Yumkella is demonstrating that you can intellectually disagree with people, you can engage in the discussion, and you find common ground. We don't have common ground here. The tradition is winner takes all. And if you are not in, you fight, you obstruct. We preach to the young generation constructive opposition. We demonstrated it. They saw us challenge government in the House, in the media. They saw us also support government on human capital development, women empowerment, and so on. That's the new narrative we want the youth to see. Because we must, as a nation, resist the politics of hate, the politics of revenge. Remember what we used to say in NGC, right? For 110, do me, I do you, I do so. It's the same thing now. For me, that's an important element today. Remember, politics evolves. And you look at the moment, what I see now for the young generation is that politics of hate, that politics of abusiveness, using social media to instigate riots, to instigate fights. No. We want social media to be used the way it's being used in the more advanced countries, to propagate development, transformative ideas, to propagate creativity. We call it the creative industries. Here, in our context, in our ecosystem, it's a politics of hate. So, the youth, I'm saying to you, disagree, debate, challenge, and find a way where you collaborate on a common mission to create value.
Before Amadou comes in, there's this lack of interest when it comes to politics, when it comes to laws, policies, rather, in youth, but rather they have this urge, this, this thirst to go to vote. What would you be bringing to the table in terms of civic responsibility? Because that's what we were talking about this morning.
Yeah. You should watch my career. I hope the youth will look at my career. I was a strong activist from age 16, at CKC. No college, no school. Then back at Njala, challenging the one-party state, and so on and so forth. Back in the US, mobilizing to organize, I was at Cornell then, against apartheid. Engage and be activists in what you believe for a bigger Sierra Leone. In the days of before no college, no school, we used to also do with Indolo Trai and Pius and others, education is a right, not a privilege. So one has always been an activist. So another message to the youth is engage. Why? It is about your future. If we continue, for example, on this hate trajectory, these kids will end up hating each other into governance, into leadership, into the future. We want to change that narrative. I want them to see that, wow, this man putting ego aside, this man will be one be president. This man will be knock President Bio and the government na parliament. 9 sit down with and so they negotiate how to change the country. For me, that's the narrative. That's the narrative. That's what I want our kids, because we have to counter. We have to counter another narrative that is more dangerous, one of hate, division, tear down. Anybody criticize and you finish her, not on policy, but on personality. If that's no work, kosi mama. Any leadership in this country, kosa. Nobody will respect hierarchy and structures anymore. You will be in a company. The manager talks to you, kosi mama, go wait in do. Because there is a culture now that you're okay for kos woman, kosi mama. And if you know like her, finish her. Let me tell you what has been done. Yeah? I buried my mother. People curse me today, then they say, we don't curse him, mama, we don't pull an grave, we don't curse her back. I buried my wife last year. Same thing. Well, don't curse her, a lot cursing, we're safe now, we don't die. They ain't picking them out. Is that the society we're looking for? My dear sister, it's incumbent on me as a senior statesman to challenge that narrative of hate. To show that collaboration, that collaboration can work. Progress can come. We can forgive and come together. And inshallah, even those who abuse us will reach out. That's what we need to demonstrate, that you can forgive. Reach out, say, my son, let me give you another way of looking at society. It's about hope and innovation. And today, yesterday, we innovated on politics. We created an alliance before elections. That's what we want our children to see.
You sound very conciliatory. Is this Dr. Kandeh Yumkella forgiving those who abuse,
forgiving across the board?
Mom in the SLPP,
creating. Let me tell you,
is
forgiving.
This Dr. Kandeh Yumkella returning to his party, his former party, and forgiving those who abused him?
This is Dr. Yumkella forgiving those who offended us within the SLPP, forgiving those as well in the APC and elsewhere. We got to show that to this young generation.
Going to the SLPP, not
listen
to
me. No, listen. You remember what we said yesterday? President that I chose our words very well because we've been discussing for some time. There are progressives in APC. I've been with some in governance now who wanted different politics. They want to. I was in parliament where I saw young parliamentarians in the APC and SLPP who would want to challenge their own policies they brought there. They cannot, because they have to be bound by the institution. Of course, I'm different, because my party was more progressive. We can choose the issue. We were issue-based. Today, we are working with the government defending a policy. Tomorrow morning, they bring another one. Rado knows. Rado was with us when he brought the cybercrime. Cybercrime bill, right?
Cybercrime bill.
The day he announced it, I tweeted. Within 5 minutes, I listened to him. I said, we're totally against this. But guess what? He will tell you, I'm not a member of the committee, right?
Yeah.
But I spent 2-3 days with him, from 10 in the morning till sometimes 6, going through line by line. Because I know what the first draft we didn't like. After opposing, I sat with them, with other MPs, to go through line by line, right?
Absolutely.
To create a cybercrime bill that will protect the rights of people. That's the nature we want. Not to say, we don't bring us, they kill and they don't. No.
But this is what you've been doing as a leader of a political party. You've influenced changes in some of the things in parliament.
Exactly.
As a leader of a party that's called for change in this. Your good friend, Professor Kandeh, was saying the ideology of forming the NGC is not about forming an alliance. It is about a party, a group of individuals who wants to change the system of the APC and the SLPP that you believe so much that has destroyed this country.
Now, Jimmy, as you know, is my buddy. We've been in this business. People should know that Jimmy was teaching 45 minutes from my university. He was in Kalamazoo. I was teaching at Michigan State. So we've been in this process for long. It is true we came to replace these two. Politics is also about pragmatism. How soon can you replace them? Is it 10 years or 20 years? But in the interim, what happens to the system? You gotta also face the reality now. The difference is, I have been here 8 years, on the ground, campaigning, going around, trying to push that change. I have advised, I have criticized. Some ideas are taking maybe 10%, 15%, but I see something lacking. It's what Rado said. Legislation is done, policies are done, the execution fails. The execution fails. There are a lot of good laws that were passed before that are passed now. In the execution, they fail. We felt, and again, Jimmy was with us, but there are many others. Yeah, as a leader, I listen to many more views, not one alone. Some of us have felt that, look.
But the party had an ideology.
The ideology still stays. Our values are still there. And that's why we...
So you don't want to change...
That's why we maintain our identity.
You don't want the change that you were seeking of, you know, replacing Alassane and Al-Hussein as you referred to them then. You don't want that change anymore.
Alassane
Instead, you're joining them to get the change.
Alassane says, Kandeh, we heard you. We heard NGC. We see the talent pool. You know something? Some of those changes that might come 10, 15 years from now, we can begin to change now. Can we talk about how we begin to do that now until that future? Okay? That steady state we want to see in the future. So we're going to begin to change now. It is still the same change. The tactic is different. The tactic is different. The tactic now is collaboration, because we realize it cannot be done individually. President Bio has said it over and over, and he said it yesterday. One group no more not able to do this. And Rado said it. We are in silos. The talents are in different places, and the institutions hold them back. No work with the other one. We for wait till we own 10. Hey, we wait till we own 10, 5 years they pass. The economy they go behind other countries than they go before. You wait till 10 years because waiting do. You ego so big say, pass me your own way. That's what we want to change here. The narrative is, now we're innovating. You know, I spend a lot of time in the energy space. We talk about disruptive technologies, disruptive business models. What we've done here is a disruption of the political narrative, that you can have collaboration and an alliance before showtime.
My colleague asked about youth earlier, but you have a group of citizens, I believe, who believed in you, who believed, who do not believe in the SLPP or the APC, who voted for the NGC. That's 6%. What's their fate? What will you say to them? Those people who wanted change and believed in you so much.
They see change coming too. This is innovation. This is part of change. This hasn't been done this way before. It's innovation. We're innovating now that we achieve that change now, not in 10 years that some people say, let us wait the long term. But the country...
You're tired of waiting?
No, the country is in trouble. Things are moving so fast around the world, I'm telling you. We're discussing fourth industrial revolution, the Internet of Things, artificial intelligence. You think the rest of the world is waiting? We're way behind. And what I have realized is people think that change is a quick fix. No. It is a long process, and I worry. There's a sense of urgency here. The hate and division in the country and the way we're reversing. This morning I was checking inflation data, around the world, and also in Africa. Ours is 43%. Liberia is about 9 to 11%. Guinea, about the same. We need to do things now to fix the now. Otherwise, there will not be a tomorrow. Otherwise, there will be conflict, because things are difficult because of accumulated decades.
And you believe things can only be fixed with you joining the SLPP?
I believe things can be fixed by bringing a critical mass of people together, and others will join, trust me. President Bio made it clear, and we made it clear. We're going to reach out. We're going to reach out to more professionals to say, whatever anger you have, we need your skills now. Let us begin to build now. Let us lay the foundation now that will take us to that middle income status in 10 years. And again, let's not promise short term. Let's deal with structural issues that are complicated. For example, to do what Liberia and Guinea are lucky, they have enough mineral exports to defend their currency. We're not in the same league. You know, I tell people we're not Guinea. Guinea is sitting on almost 25% of the world's bauxite. Everybody wants to be there. And now they discovered graphite as well. So they can export and defend their currency. We need to diversify because our deposits are not as big as theirs. So there are things we need to do now structurally in the economy that might pay off in 5 or 10 years.
Okay.
And it starts now, not tomorrow.
You know,
and others are advancing.
You referred to the economy some time ago, rankonomics, right? How will you call it now at this time? You know, you just mentioned inflation rates and how the economy is bad as well.
Having been now in all these global discussions on COVID, the impacts of COVID. I've done presentations for various groups on COVID impact, and then now the Russian-Ukraine war. I call it exactly the classic case of economics where we talk about a small economy being a price taker. We're dealing with shocks that are way beyond our ability to manage. Yeah, this phenomenon. I give you one case. It is the first time. No.
Quickly, the APC argued as well about plummeting prices of iron ore and Ebola as well during that time. But you challenged them on it. That we could have done better as a nation.
So it is good you're going back to history. Yeah, some of the structural things under rankonomics still exist in parts of our economy. Very true. And as I said, there are no quick fixes. That's an area we have to concentrate going forward now. Remember, government is also a huge machinery. A huge machinery. The habits that are not easy to change. Now we want to fix part of that rankonomics, the legacy of rankonomics that is there, building an improved system where we look at export markets, but yes, we close leakages. I said it yesterday on stage. I say what, and I said it, if you go back to your tapes and see the debate of the last budget. The debate of the last budget, I was even specific on areas where we should save. I said
traveling is one.
Traveling was one. In fact, I was even more direct. I said either the president bans travel for 6 months, or we Parliament cut all travel budget by 70%. This is last year. We have to tighten our belts too. We got to do it. This crisis we have globally is not going to end in the next year, maybe not the next 2 years. There are things we must do domestically, and I said it yesterday. So there's a critical purse of money that we can invest, for example, in export diversification, in the tertiary education system, small and medium enterprises. But we have to save first in order to do some of that, and also attract even more investment. We create, and that's why the peace and unity matters. We must reach out, we must listen to the other side that are critical of us, so that we have a society here that is more stable, calm, inclusive, so investors have a confidence coming here. Each time there is a crisis here, that's another 2 years of work to convince somebody to come here to say, invest with us.
Okay.
So you see what I mean? That's why the whole issue of political coherence, of peace, of unification matters. Everything will revolve around that stability in this country. And yes, we will reach out to others.
Okay, let's continue with Mr. Minister. With the coming of NGC, you are fine. Again, I asked you earlier, it's easier when a brother returns home. Are you as open to other political parties if they want to, join this alliance?
Well, not my words. His Excellency was very clear about that yesterday. I mean, this is a progressive alliance to reposition this country, to face her development challenges today, tomorrow, and at all times. And he also made it very clear. Anybody, any political party, or any group of Sierra Leoneans who share similar objectives, similar vision, are free and most welcome to join us, including the APC. If they are so obliged, they share this vision of a united, peaceful, and progressive Sierra Leone, why not? They're most certainly welcome.
Okay. Now, quickly, in one of the messages, Honorable Kandeh Yumkella, attention has been drawn to the work you have been doing in the world of Parliament, and more specifically, it's the one regarding to the fake degrees. With your coming, particularly to help governance, to give your ideas, to set the scene straight, what would you say in those areas, taking into consideration you are a man of ethics, those who try to go to, devious means to have qualifications, and you want to work with these very people who have, some of them, that are not everyone, who have fake degrees?
I don't know about that.
Yeah. You see, that's a classic case. I remember discussing that with President Bio when I took up the assignment. And we were talking about all the hoopla. And he said, so how are you going to tackle this? I said, look, there is a system that is not working, that is allowing these fake degrees to pass. I said, that's the system I want to fix. You know what he said? He said, that's the difference between you and many people. There's noise, but you're going straight to the source of the problem. So what we've done, we've done a report that has a long list of recommendations, but then we developed an action plan. what can be done now, up to the time Parliament closes. Of course, it's closing already this week. What can be done in the next 6 months? So one of the areas where I'll work with the President on is how we plug that. We need to create a repository of all certificates. We need to digitalize them. We need to include more security features in diplomas that are given to individuals. We need to criminalize, and what we've done already before Parliament closes immediately. I floated a motion 2 weeks ago which has been adopted. Now it's criminal. It was not before. It is criminal to establish an institution here without going through the full accreditation. If you do it, you serve on the board, you work there, 10 years jail. 10 years, not 2. We want to make it very painful because you're destroying the next generation. Number 2, if you knowingly jump to Dubai, buy a PhD for $5,000 and come here and tell our people, say, me a doctor, 5 years. If you knowingly, like in senior positions, because that's where we saw some of the crimes. Somebody did a job, he won't get the promotion quick, then say, but just go get the paper quick. He doesn't go to class. There's so, go read our report, how bad it is for this country and for the next generation. Also, 5 years. So we've already passed immediately. That's why I say the action plan is important. What you can do now, what you can do in a few months, what you can do in 2 years. So creating the agency might take us another year, strengthening the Tertiary Education Commission to do the audits, to visit these institutions, even the legitimate universities, to make sure people are going to the class for the degree. We heard students gave us stories of people who say, na the paper me want.
Yes.
Not the knowledge, na the paper me want. So one of the immediate things we do, we revised the Tertiary Education Act. It's already been drafted. We've given ideas how it can be strengthened. I think Parliament should deal with that immediately. September, they come back. So this year itself, we have a new Tertiary Education Act. We increased their budget. You know, last year they received only about 20%, this last 12 months, 20% of their budget. All man say them for work, but you give them 20% of in resources. We want to strengthen that institution with a new law and with a new budget. Then, next year, hopefully, we work on creating the agency, just like Kenya, Tanzania, and others have done. Immediately, we hope that we'll get the president to make a pronouncement on this. This is a national crisis. It's worse than people think.
You know, there's a saying, sorry, Amado, if you can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen. And you'll be joining, well, you have joined somehow the alliance of the SLPP. And again, with this issue of fake degrees, I'm not talking about people just going to get jobs, private jobs. I'm talking about, you know, government officials who were named particularly. How do you seek, or what are your plans to change some of these trajectories? Because it's not the ordinary people in private sectors you'll be working with. These are the some of very people who have some of these fake degrees.
It is the same thing I said about hate. A culture was also built here that you can get fake degrees easy. And it's not just now. When we checked, it's 20 years. It's been happening. Leak, 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 and suddenly it exploded. And thank God for whistleblowers like Idris Lahai and others. We paid attention. So again, we've insisted in the report that the audits that were started must be finished. I gave an example. We gave a number in the report. Out of 18,000 workers under the Civil Service, Public Service Commission, only 1,300 submitted certificates for verification. None were verified. Why? There's an attitude that it no matter. Nobody know they take it serious. You know, only 1,300 responded. The other hand, they don't care. We got to change that. So those audits must be completed. We've indicated who should do what in finishing those audits. We set some examples, and now we have a crime. It's now law that it is a crime. When we asked the CID and the DPP, how come you did not even prosecute those in Dominion that actually did it under the tree? They said, doctor, there's no legislation that it's a crime. Go look the act. If you establish school, secondary school, without accreditation, a crime. But this one not a crime, because what they do? They go to the is it the business bureau and register it as a business. Corporate Affairs Commission. So for them, they are legally a business giving diplomas. But giving diplomas that are not allowed by the Tertiary Education Commission, we've closed that window. Yeah? So we've created a framework where those audits can be done properly. Now, we've established that it is a crime. But more importantly, and that's where I want to say, is fixing the system. We've given recommendations from the chancellors of universities, from the Tertiary Education Commission, from students. The students wanted more draconian measures than we put in, because they're angry. They say, we they study other one in the buyer. So we've created a framework. If we implement, that's why I say the law will do the law, but it's the execution. And the leadership committee, remember, Magufuli in Tanzania led the charge. After that, nobody no mess up again. But he also created a system to prevent it. We have a package, we have an action plan, and inshallah, we'll be implementing those.
Inshallah.
In the next time.
So just to to make a few things, so we are not about fake degrees. I sit in cabinet. I know some of my colleagues with whom I sit in cabinet. Some of them come from, the most seminal universities around the world. So you have a very solid cabinet. But like Dr. Yumkella said, we have to have systems, correct processes, procedures with rigor, with stamina to be able to dictate, and deal with even before they rear their ugly heads. That is a very serious concern, So many have wondered why Dr. Yumkella chose to ally with the SLPP instead of with other political parties. This is exactly an issue the president himself loses sleep over. When he became president in the early days, he had to put together a multidisciplinary committee to deal with the issue of spying and fraud in public school examinations, particularly the Beke and WASC, right? He was appalled on one occasion when returning to a country, he saw students, on rooftops who were apparently escaping arrest because they were culpable of examinations malpractice. So yes, that is something. So he sees some of the things that progressive minds should do are already being done. Okay. He has mentioned before, yesterday they mentioned the repeal of the criminal libel law. They have always spoken about that. You see a government that is serious, that is already doing that. We spoke about gender empowerment. I know the omnibus bill you were piloting, So this government is progressing in more ways than one. Do we have challenges? Yes, we do. Do we need additional hands on board? Yes, we do.
That is exactly what I wanted to ask. On point 12.
So it is not about winning the next elections before you drag me there.
On point 12.
It's about the next generation.
On point
that is why we are so short-termist, and political scientists around the world have always indicated that one of the reasons why Africa's democracy has shallow roots is the winner-take-all approach.
On point 12 in the agreement, as it was read yesterday by the NGC Secretary General, it says when the alliance wins the presidential election, the NGC should be included in an inclusive government, in which case the NGC shall be allocated a number of positions as mutually agreed in various categories of appointments in governance. Example, ministers, deputy minister, ambassadors, and members, and board members, etc. This shall be subject to the approval of the president. It's the SLPP, calling for an inclusive government and wanting to get the NGC votes to win the next election?
No. I have said this progressive alliance is not about the next election.
But you're offering. You're
giving about. No. You have to start from somewhere. It's about the next generation.
That's to entice them to campaign better.
If we rear our kids in this environment of hate, visceral hate, if we rear our kids in this environment of ethno-regional divide and all of the vices that have held this country back, right? If we continue to keep our talents in silos and not unleash them for national development efforts, then the next generation will be in danger. Already, countries around the world are coalescing to solve the current and emerging problems. And this is not the first time in Sierra Leone. Towards independence, this was a major issue. Towards independence, a coalition of the willing was built, right, to present a united front to ask for independence. At the peak of the Civil War, we did the same thing. So it's not new at all. Anytime we have had an existential threat as a country, we have rallied the troops. And President Biu has done just that. He has his heart in the right place, and I'm happy that it's gone very well with the alliance partners, the NGC, I know many of them.
The offer of appointment with the alliance, is it not about getting the vote?
No, it is about setting the agenda together.
I'll come to you.
Rado.
Yeah.
It's about setting the agenda. You set the agenda, you deliver the agenda together.
I'll expect.
No. Let me come there. Let me do that.
No, I'm jumping in because there's a reason why. Because the vision was set by President Bio and myself, and it came down. So the point he's going to make, which is very clear, you set an agenda together.
SLPP. I'm asking
him. No, so I will say, okay.
No, but you are insinuating. No. But you are insinuating. You are insinuating. Your question, in fact, not even insinuating. You made it clear.
No, I'm asking him to explain. I'm asking him to explain.
Labrana, it's not about jobs. Jobs are just a consequence of a shared vision. Right?
To deliver on the vision.
You remember, His Excellency did say, just a minute.
Inclusive government.
Can I come? Did the same document not also say various committees are going to be formed to formulate the manifesto, spokespersons for the alliance, and various other committees that will impact on the next administration? So jobs and appointments will be a consequence of the shared vision, that has been driven down, that has been cascaded to the rest of us by the two leaderships.
Before quickly, are you expecting the NGC as a political party to come with some votes to the SLPP to win the next elections?
Well, definitely.
Is that part of the alliance?
The president did say, if you listen to him, he did this Creole parable. He said, Oni, where did they now? Whatever container. It's sweet already. So we add other Oni, not for like sweet more, not for like boku. Right? Okay. So we are building a talent pool that is equal to or probably surpasses the challenges we currently face.
Honorable, is the NGC joining the SLPP as well with this alliance to help them to win the election with votes? You had 6% in the last election.
We have one presidential candidate. We have to mobilize, and I'll be out there campaigning soon. I can't wait. I'm already warming up. I'm doing my exercises. I think we'll be on the platform together on the 28th in Botloko, right? We're going to campaign. We're going to mobilize. We're going to mobilize the younger generation. We're going to explain our narrative of collaborative, transformative development. We're going out there to mobilize. We're going to campaign aggressively together as an alliance. If you want a good case study, go to Senegal. Look at how their coalitions work. Look at what they do before elections. So we're going out and we're going to be rolling out. We started yesterday, right?
Yes,
down at the junction.
Yes.
So and my friends have sent enough vitamins
for me. And the point on appointments, forming an inclusive government with giving the NGC some appointments. You want to speak to that?
It is important.
Listen, your members.
Remember again. Look at the premise. Do a joint manifesto. So which means we establish a governance platform and the commitments we're going to make together, and we work together to deliver on them. Yeah? And again, we've said over and over, the talent pool. We're opening up the talent pool, bringing more skills, more ideas, and more management skills to deliver. The president has emphasized, and we said it yesterday, delivery, with milestones, and also
accelerated delivery.
We want to see the outcomes.
You want to deliver. Do you have preferred positions in case the alliance wins? Do you have preferred positions you want to deliver?
Wait for the manifesto. We have to work first.
No, I'm talking about the appointment.
We have to work first. Wait for the manifesto.
Are you not sure of winning?
Manifesto. I say we have to work.
No, I'm asking if you win, if the alliance wins.
It's not if we win. It's when we win.
So when you win, in your words, when you win,
definitely.
What positions?
And before winning, we're working on the manifesto. So we're very deliberate. We don't put the cart before the horse. We want to develop the manifesto first, and then we prioritize. What do we do the first 100 days, first 1,000 days, first year, and then we cascade. Yeah, that's how we want to work. Very systematic. Don't put the cart before the horse.
Okay.
It's about the talent pool.
Okay, gentlemen, let's take some highlights from Honorable KKY a few years back.
The National Grand Coalition, as we've said, is a rainbow party. We've been very inclusive in bringing people in. We've preached only peace and inclusiveness. And so far, all our activities have been non-violent. And I want to pledge to the people of Sierra Leone, we do not believe in violence. and we will continue the march towards a progressive Sierra Leone that is peaceful, where the rule of law is obeyed, and indeed we create a unified nation. That is why we are a grand coalition of progressives. So we are non-violent. You have to worry about the Al-Hussein and Al-Hassan that have that tendency of violence.
So, whether not fighting corruption, whether not good governance, ultimately, you measure it on the welfare of the people. Look at the stories of Rwanda, of Ghana, of Singapore, of Cambodia, of Vietnam. Change them where they do political reform, economic reform. People, the income, they go up. We know they go up, they go down. So when I hear people, they boast, I say they've not done development economics. Eventually, we ask, what are the impacts? Social, human, economic. So you talk, yeah, I put 70% of the budget in this sector. So what? What if all of it was stolen? No impact on the poor. What if contracts were just given to friends? No impact on the population. They still remain poor. And still in this country, for 20 years, we have not moved. If we move one notch up, we're still poor. 2 notches up, we're still poor. Human Development Index, 3 jumps up, we're still amongst the lowest in the world. That's not what we want. We want transformation. We want to jump 10 places in the poverty index. Left that bottom. Then the other group. Yeah? Not to always the same 10 for 30 years. We're not a shift. We're not shifting. People, they clap, say, we they do well. We're changing the systems. Oh, things are good. Trust the process only. Things will happen. Hell no. And there is a saying, the people deserve the government we didn't get. Okay. They deserve the governance system we didn't get. Because now on the vote, now on get for mobilize on issues. If you not mobilize for the issue, if you not put the right people, then therefore do you issue, or they go cry. So
as we try for round up, you think say the people get the right government and get a very good government, as you say, people deserve the government we didn't get?
I give them na them vote for the government.
What's your assessment of this government? 3 years.
No, then they will get for deal with that, and then our campaign begin. I don't
the right on the bread and butter issues. I
don't do interviews with una. Don't give una parameters.
Yeah, but on this show.
Get parameters that now they all go use for check the government. You know, you don't reduce the debt where you can, as you've been promised. The people then better today pass yesterday.
You think this government has been better than the previous?
Than a fundamental. Remember, whatever we do, the ultimate goal now for make the people their life better.
Okay.
So those are questions we get for ask the people then. Your life better today, you get more job than today than you been get today. The debt situation of the country better than before. Everything is arbitrary. People just interpret rules the way they like. Constitution says debate. Auditor General's report. They say, we've not been done one before. And somebody gave me that careless talk. But go check, we'll never do one. No. But the speaker told me in his office, Kandeh, don't worry, it's a constitutional requirement. Hello. It's not only me. Tawa made the motion. Chief Baikur made the motion. I did it. Hassan Priest. Honorable Mara and others have raised it. He just ignores us. That's arbitrary. Institutions have to be beyond an individual. They have to have fundamental values, principles, systems that does not allow this arbitrariness. You decide what leaders mean. No.
For call we brother back. We need them back home. And that make a to the parliament.
This country for no say politics not for be by enmity. Important for we when a politician. For sure we begin and say we can disagree on politics. We can then a different party, but not for enmity, not for fet. What you do? We all want one country to live better. So for Kaya today, being a big leader in this country, I want to let the people in Asamo and the country see say, we believe say we all get the same intention. We want a better salon. And number 2, we carefully respect the institutions. Me an institutionalist. Now that I don't do for 30 years. When you get the presidency, now for the whole country. If me not be kind way president, they can visit me village. Then I don't respect this country, I don't respect the president. It's wrong. Then there's a talking about the parliament. I said one of the things we don't unbox this country, we don't allow everybody for cause big man and big woman in this country. It's not correct. It's not correct.
Them for respect institutions. Them for respect leadership. President, if you see me now, and the respect for you as a person, but the institution as well. You now be president. The chief, everybody don't talk. Which you try for do now. And me don't talk at once in the development and the work with the government of the day, constructive opposition. When things no right, I also always done to my public or private. Say do your law make and this way it go better. So if you see me now, the gesture where you make a gesture of respect. Thank you for that gesture. You self show me people then say you respect me as a person, but you show the new leadership. Now that's them people understand. Because some of the parents and no one tell them. If you see president give me this respect in the public, why I know they expect, I take them, say now out of respect. As we can say now, I don't know how they will talk on Timney or Shabu. But we also say, we say, wait, Maada who's who me? Maada who's who me? Maada saying yes to me. Money you must say you know. Can I move out who's who me? Move out who's who? What I say, so excellency, I will be talking about Shabu, but that don't forget. The tradition, the chief lady say, we don't hold word. We don't hold word. We thank you for the respect. I pass on to my big brother with it then.
Well,
yes, those were some highlights
yes,
years back
of where it started with the presidential debate
today.
To some of the...
So young. I have been battered so much. Now I'm aging fast, you know, with all the pressure.
You know, President Bill said yesterday, you know, when he went to Kandeh at the home, he had that feeling that the chiefs, your parents, the dads, aren't happy that you're not part of the SLPP and you're not together. Do you feel relieved? Do you feel comfortable getting back to the SLPP or joining the president in an alliance?
I'm very, very comfortable, very pleased at what we've created, the innovation we've introduced in the politics of Sierra Leone, one of collaboration, inclusivity, talent pooling, looking at the future of one country and one people. Yeah? So I'm very happy, very pleased, very, very clear. And you know what struck me? Is the consistency. You got to give me all my tapes. Yeah? And yes, I will be out there advocating. I will be out there challenging the negative narrative. My campaign 2015 to 2018 was one of hope and change. I'm going to do the same now because I'm still hopeful for this country. I'm even more hopeful now that we're showing the young generation that we can come together for Mama Salome to counter the other narrative, the narrative of everything is a disaster, nothing works because we're not in charge. No. But worst of all, that you can corrupt institutions, you can spread hate just for the sake of power. We're going to counter that narrative with one of hope, collaboration, and transformation again. Remember what I used to say, hope, opportunity, and transformation. Yeah. We've just given a new hope.
Okay.
That it is not all negative. We can come together and work as one people.
Honorable, as we round up, I want you to particularly address Sierra Leoneans because a lot of attention, you know, is being laid on the fact of who you are, your ethics, and what you stand for. But to be associated, to work for somebody, you have to be proud of that person. I have to be proud of Lamrana. I have to be proud of AYV. So are you pleased with the work the Sierra Leone People Party has been doing over the past 5 years to be associated with the party?
Yes. The Sierra Leone People's Party has laid some foundation. They've made some mistakes like any government. If you are scared of making mistakes, you'll never lead. What is important in governance is also to recognize that you've taken actions to a certain point, but you can have a quantum leap, even a bigger push to another steady state. That is where we are today. So I'm very pleased with some of the progressive agendas. I've backed some of those in Parliament, but we can do much more. And it's the much more, that quantum leap is what President and I have been discussing. And also the talent pool needed to go to the next level. sometimes we tread water. We've done a lot, but we're treading water. Population is growing. Things are becoming difficult, but we know we can make another leap. And that's what we are. And I'm very proud that I can be part of that system that can take us to the other level,
Minister,
the higher level we want to go.
Minister Suarez said 85% few weeks back when we spoke to him. What, in terms of percentages, what would you give the Sierra Leone? Yes, in context.
85% for what?
For the work Sierra Leone People Party has been doing over the 5 years.
The
government generally.
Okay, you asked 85. me for an assessment of
yes,
the government's performance thus far.
Exactly.
And ourselves, an opposition person who saw no good in all the efforts we have made in the last 5 years, who saw no effort in our efforts at transforming the economy, who saw no efforts in the frame-breaking reforms we have made, who saw no effort in, the investments we have done in human capital. I was saying, compared to the manifesto commitments we made, we have made 85. Substantial gains. 85. I'm marking my own screen.
Yes, 85. That's
absolutely.
85.
She's just 85.
So there's still room for improvement.
In terms of reference, you said 85. So in the very percentages, what would you give the Sierra Leone People's Party?
Let's not mark the scripts.
So I'm a more difficult examiner, right? I was opposition, so I'm a more strict marker. So I would say 75 to 85. It's a range. So which means I'm recognizing that's what is critical here. And it's what he said. That it's not everything that was wrong. If I sit here and say they did nothing, then Parliament did nothing, right? People forget the legislations. So when some of us again come out about some of the legislations we passed, you will see a lot was done by Parliament and the government and the opposition. What is missing? Implementation. Actionable interventions that will give you the outcomes you want.
Okay.
That is a missing link, and we've discussed it. That's why President keeps saying, you don't make enough laws. Kanale can work for her. Make those laws work. You know them already that were passed. A lot of them coming down from some of our donors and the Bretton Woods institutions, African Development Bank. The implementation is struggling, but it's not unique to us.
Time has closed on us in less than 1 minute. When you started talking about this alliance, even within the NGC, you had people who resigned, like Dr. Dennis Bright, Arthur Pierce, and other Sarata as well. I want you to speak to those people who perhaps are still in the NGC, but might not be believing in your strategic alliance.
I said it in my speech already, so I look at them. I recognize what Dr. Bright did for the NGC. 3-4 of us started the NGC. It pained me, it hurt me when I realized that he had not only resigned as chairman, but also as a member of the party. We will keep talking to Dr. Dennis Bright. We had a vision together. Maybe tactically, how we want to achieve the rest of that vision has been different. But yes, we are comrades in the struggle for a better Sierra Leone. We'll keep talking to him. We'll keep engaging him. Dr. Bright has experiences that this country will need for the next quantum leap we need. And it is consistent with what we said. And the president said yesterday, we will keep reaching out to those with talents that are needed for the quantum leap we're looking for. So Dr. Bright, if you're listening, we're recognizing what you did for and with the NGC. Yes, we're at another phase, but don't close the door. And I said it in my speech, the door is open, and you know me. Sometimes I finish my exercise and I pass by your house. I'll engage you again, because why? President said it yesterday. We need to talk again. I need to listen to his critique, but I need for him to say, Kandeh, na me and you been the talk about this, una no doing yet. Una need for doing. That helps us move forward.
Okay.
And it's that kind of politics we want to see. And the youth, we're saying to you, here you are, they praise Dr. Bright. This country, they no one praise Posse work. Yes, we reach a point where I go right and say, these are not too great. But it is okay. It is okay. And myself, they go fend and back now, say, Dr. Bright, we don't do amo, but I need your idea back. And do ya, if we work, we not don't complete something, call me, say, Kandeh, you don't form her. That's the politics, not the politics of hate. Me and Dr. Bright not to enemy. Let nobody not feel that. But let me also give you a context. People feel say, now, Boku people don't left NGC now. And 10. A few days we take back seat now, then say they want to watch how the alliance they work. And they say to themselves, work with us. Let we see how we'll make Salon better. Keep
Thank
Salon
you very
first
much. Thank you very much,
as your North Star.
Mr. Minister, do you have other agreements to sign, as in alliance with other political parties or individuals? And he's talking about 2018 Potloko.
Yes. My immediate predecessor in the Ministry of Information and Communications, Alhaji Alfaka, who had seen the light earlier, who had seen the value that President Bio brings to the table and is impressed with the progressive developments across this country, has officially invited us to witness a major event in which he'll be steering on the 28th of this month in Poloko. So,
and
welcome.
I was asking how
you most graciously welcome.
If you have other agreements or alliances or other people.
Well, the president did not shut his door yesterday. He did say, even with the APC, as long as they subscribe to our progressive ideas for a united, peaceful, decorous, and progressive Sierra Leone, they are welcome to join us build this country for ourselves and the next generation of Sierra Leoneans.
Okay, thank you very much for joining us this morning, Honorable Yumkella and Honorable Minister, for your time. We'll definitely continue the conversation.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much.
This is where we end today's edition of Wake Up Sierra Leone. The mind you quote for today says, a healthy democracy requires a decent society. It requires that we are honorable, generous, tolerant, and respectful. And it comes from Charles Pickering, an American attorney, politician, and jurist. Thanks to our sponsor, Yumkella Commercial Bank, for their support to the program, to our guests who've joined us this morning, and to you, our viewers, for your time. Wake Up Sierra Leone returns tomorrow at 8 a.m. We've been your presenters. I am Amadullah Mwanapa. And I am Zulaya Tuhamid. Have a lovely day. Bye-bye.